Yeah, I can't dispute that. You know, Georgia, Ole Miss. I've heard great things about Ole Miss. I've never had an interest in visiting Mississippi, but Oxford might be something. But yeah, no, I think you're right. I think a night game at LSU is the place to be.
Right now, we're joined by our Royals insider, Josh Vern here. So, Vern, there's a lot of things to get your opinion on. So, maybe you've heard it, maybe you haven't heard it. I'll just recap the tape. I think right now there's two schools of thought when it comes to the Royals. I'm looking at this much more of a 1.5, 2-year issue with the Royals. I've had the stat over the last 240 games for the Royals. They are 2 games over 500. They're 121 and 119. I'm not here telling you same old Royals. That is disrespectful to somebody like you that has watched a lot of bad Royals baseball over the last decade or so. They are not that. But I do wonder if this organization, if this team is ready to take the next step. I've been using the analogy about the Pittsburgh Steelers. All of us think Pittsburgh is good, but we can acknowledge there's been a difference between Pittsburgh and Kansas City or Pittsburgh and Buffalo. To an 89 to 90 win team. That's talking about a team that can really make some noise in October.
And to me, you need to ask yourself how many stars are on this team. How many hitters in this lineup do I believe are either a star now or will be a star by the end of the season? Bobby, obviously, but how do you view Salvi? How do you view Vinny, Carter, Jack Caglio? Because to me, the comparison to the Pittsburgh Steelers, yeah, they've had T.J. Watt, but I haven't scanned his legs and thought, wow, look at all that offensive talent. I do when I watch the Royals as I'm preparing for this season. From Garcia to Bobby, Vinny, Salvi, and the 2 Carter and Jack, I do think there's talent here, but if you dispute that, if you don't think that these guys can blossom or are already stars, well then sure, yeah, that Steelers comparison. If you just think that this is a good player, if you think Salvi's getting close to being a little too old to be your cleanup hitter, if you're not buying in on Tags and Carter, well then yeah, this is a team that might be showing that it's not ready. But to me, when I look at the last 1.5 years of Royals baseball, it's really 3 different stories. We can go back to the end of 2024. That's all about the injury to Vinny Pascal. That's when that offense really started to take a nosedive. Last year, to me, it was the complementary pieces around Bobby, Vinny, Salvi, and Michael Garcia. You didn't get anything from second base. You really didn't get anything from any of your outfield positions last season. Now, Freddie, for me, at times, was the best.
Hardly saw her.
And what we've seen this year is your star. Anything but. Again, Salvi's now 0 for 15 with runners in scoring position. From your cleanup spot, he's 0 for 15. The Italians don't have a home run. Bobby, Vinny, and Salvi combined are now hitting below a $150 when it comes to runners in scoring position. So the reason why the offense is struggling this year, which, by the way, the offense right now ranks higher in Major League Baseball than most offensive statistics. It ranks higher right now than it did at the end of last season. So statistically, this offense is slightly better than last year's. But that really goes to show you that there's a lot of the heavy lifting because Bobby, Vinny, and Salvi are struggling still have another 2.5 weeks left in the month of April. Vinny really didn't turn it on until the beginning of May last year. Hopefully tonight, facing a right-hander in Davis Martin, could jumpstart him because he can't wait until May. Not if you have hopes of winning this division. And you just dropped 2 of 3 against Cleveland. You're headed to Detroit for a 3-game series coming up starting on Tuesday. You talk about the hitters that have fallen short of the expectations. You could put Cole Reagan in there as well. Today, to the unfortunate line drive he takes off of the hand. Sandwiched in between was a pretty solid start where the offense let him down, but just another example of why the first 13 games have been so disappointing. Honestly, I think they played maybe 2 well-rounded games so far. But as far as the ups and downs, really, so long as Vinny's healthy, save the month of April, he's a pretty darn consistent hitter. Bobby Witt Jr. saved the month of April in 2024, and what he's gone through the first 2 weeks has been a pretty consistent hitter. His ups and downs is more like he goes from being the best player on the planet to being one of the 25 best players on the planet. That's Bobby's up and down. And Salvy's been doing that for a decade and a half, whether it's chasing the pitches down and away, whether it's pressing because he feels the need to carry the offense, whatever the explanation is or the reasoning is. We've seen this plenty with Salvy, but when you're a month away from your 36th birthday, we're all wondering if that cliff is awaiting the great catcher.
Right now, we're talking to Josh Vernier, our Royals insider. When is it no longer too early with the Royals?
Too early for what? Playoffs, division?
That's a great way of putting it. I would say that this team is going to legitimately contend for the division. Maybe that's a fair way of quantifying it.
I think that could be May 1st. Yeah. I mean, if they, because look at the schedule right now, man. I mean, after you take care of the Chicago White Sox here, 3 in Detroit, 3 in the Bronx against the Yankees, and then you come home to take on a Baltimore lineup that features Pete Alonso, Gunnar Henderson, and others. The Angels are no slouch, and then it's on the road to the bandbox in Sacramento. So the next week and a half, especially after you drop game 1 to the White Sox, a game you had no business losing, 6 straight against the Tigers and the Yankees starting on Tuesday. Now, Detroit isn't off and running, right? They're dead last in the division. They're even more disappointing than the Royals have been. But we know they're a good team, and I would imagine in Detroit they're saying the same thing about Kansas City. But, come May 1st, if you find yourself 5-6 games below 500 and Cleveland 6-7 games above 500, boy, you got a lot of work to do. Sure, you have 5 months to do it, but I don't know what you've seen from Cleveland over the past decade that leads you to believe that they're going to gag it away. You're going to have to go take it.
Yeah, no, and I think that's a really, really good point. That's why, and you and I have had this conversation before, I mean, you can't make the playoffs in April, but you can certainly miss the playoffs in April. And I don't want to run this conversation with the Royals like, oh, it's too early. Next thing you know, we look up, and they're 5 games back after 40 games, but you're just thinking, well, hold on, now this team has to do this, they got to keep this pace. I think there was an expectation with especially how they performed in the WBC that their offense was going to start hot and they were going to get going. And the fact that they had so much momentum with the WBC, and it feels like all of that momentum is basically dissipated, I think is what has people frustrated.
Yeah, certainly. All of that momentum is dissipated outside of Michael Garcia. This guy's hitting .320 and looks like the best, one of the best third basemen in all of Major League Baseball. Yeah, listen, I have nothing to combat a disappointed fan base because I'm right there with you. Now, what I heard from the clubhouse yesterday, I do think, and this should be obvious, as Vinny, Bobby, Michael Garcia, and most of those guys have been through not just last year, but the playoff run in 2024, the awful 2023. These guys are now vets. So this must come across as something that everybody already acknowledges. It's obvious, but I do think this clubhouse is as well equipped to handle a disappointing start to the season as any clubhouse in the city. Aaron Houghton about that for 2017.
That is our guy, Josh Berger, joining us on the show today. Berger, look at that. We talked 15 minutes about the Royals. I asked you one question about the stadium. Look at us. Look at God, man. Thank you very much. That is our guy, Josh Berger, joining us on the show today. I do have stadium thoughts of my own. We'll get to them coming up. Keep right here. Drive.
The Drive from America on your home for youth football. The Fan.
DQ presents the Blizzard Double Flip Deal. For a limited time, when you buy one Blizzard treat, you get a second for just 99 cents. That's 2 Blizzards, 2 spoons, 2 flavors, and 2 flips. So don't miss out on the Blizzard Double Flip Deal, available only for a limited time and happening now at DQ. Because the only thing better than a Blizzard treat is a second Blizzard treat for just 99 cents. It's a deal to flip for. The Blizzard Double Flip Deal. Get it in the app. Participation may vary.
FanDuel has your back with a special mulligan bet back token this weekend. Once the tournament starts, you can turn any losing bet into a bonus bet for another shot. Now you've got protection to take that sleeper pick or even make a big bullet prediction. So go to FanDuel.com/local to claim your special mulligan bet back token for this week's backing someone to win it all? Go for it. Like one for a top 5 finish? Lock it in with confidence. Because if it doesn't hit, you've got that mulligan in your back pocket ready to go. So go to FanDuel.com/local to claim your special mulligan bet back token. FanDuel Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and over in Fresno, Missouri. Odds are required. Refund issues non-withdrawable bonus bet that expires 7 days after receipt. Max refund $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms and conditions at FanDuel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Yeah, isn't it?
Your bills? Well, you can. Your credit card balance is at an all-time high. Golden up 4.5% rate. You could be saving thousands of dollars after a simple phone call. Call today and get your cash in as little as 14 days and make no payments for 2 months. Call 913-890-GOLD. APR, FHA 15 year, 20% equity, qualified credit, additional terms apply. NMLS 114937. When Kansas City storms roll through, hail and wind can damage your roof without you even realizing it. If your home was hit, call us at Century Roofing for a free inspection today. We handle every step of your insurance company, making the process stress-free and easy for you. For over 35 years and more than 35,000 roofs, we've been protecting Kansas City homes. Let us protect yours. Trust the pillars of strength with KC-based and female-owned. Century Roofing, KC.com. Century Roofing, trust the pillars of strength.
Welcome to Radio Rental. The scariest stories you've ever heard in your life. All told by real people. And off we go. This wasn't a human being, guys. There's something here in this house. Something out of this world.
There was a woman moving through the hall. I stepped back.
Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. There's a new kind of energy at Starbucks. When your day needs a refill, the all-new energy refreshers. Strawberry acai, mango dragon fruit, or the all-new mango strawberry. The refreshers you love, now with extra caffeine. New energy refreshers, only at Starbucks.
We asked parents to share their journey of adopting teens. They changed who I am to let me into life without Brought to you by Adopt Your Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Introducing Home Care Plus, a new subscription service from Lowe's that helps make life easier by giving members a hand with home maintenance. Let Lowe's tackle the tasks you keep meaning to do, like electric dryer vent cleaning, replacing hard-to-reach light bulbs, and more. Subscribe to Home Care Plus for just $99 a year and consider your to-do list done. Members get more at Lowe's. Available in selected codes of the cancel anytime. Product prices required. Terms and service restrictions apply. Details at Lowe's.com/members. Subject to change.
There's a difference between liking a house and actually getting it. Renton is built to make up that difference and close the gap between finding and owning the home for you. Renton agents close twice as many deals as other agents, so when you find a home you love, you're not a step behind when it's time to make an offer. That means less watching great homes disappear and more focus on the ones you'll actually move into and call home. Renton helps turn safe listings into real addresses. Renton.com. Own Live the dream.
Shawnee Mission Ford, on a mission to do more. Visit our inventory at ShawneeMissionFord.com. Ford has announced $399 payments on Mustang, Bronco Sports, and Mavericks. $499 payments on Broncos, Explorers, Rangers, or an F-150. And only Shawnee Mission Ford offers a $500 gas card on top of those low payments. Shawnee Mission Ford on a mission to do more in 20 seconds.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DMH Law Studios. Mike's got this. Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-750. Mike's got this.
The countdown to the World Soccer Championship is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. From here or wherever you are, that's the benefit of blue. Visit bluekc.com/benefit of blue for more information. Here's your traffic report on 96.5 The Fan.
We've got a stall at the 465 northbound and 210 highway. And then just south of Olathe, that's a crash in the cleanup stages, but still big backups. 35, it's northbound, the on-ramp from 151st. I'm down with traffic on 96.5 The Fan.
Hey, it's Carlos Esteves from the Kansas City Royals.
What the fuck is
He's
that?
on right here on 96.5 The Fan.
Scared the piss out of me.
All right, coming up in 40 minutes, we're going to be joined by Nathan Willett. He put this press release out yesterday, so it made us reach out to him.
The big pothole.
Public feedback is crucial before voting on any stadium proposal. I did not join my other colleagues in sponsoring the proposed legislation, the legislation that would earmark $600 million to give to the Royals. Any proposal should be approved by the taxpayers of Kansas City. In the meantime, I will make sure the details of the proposal do not harm police and fire budgets. So he is a member of the city council in Kansas City. He's going to be on the show coming up at 4 o'clock. And we're going to just ask him some questions and get his thoughts on all of the news that happened yesterday and about his press release. We'll do that coming up in just a bit. I want to have this conversation about the Royals, 913-586-7965. Now, I don't want anybody to take this first statement the wrong way, but I don't believe that your experience of going to Chiefs games is going to change that much.